Hey, this is Kyle Battis from New Hampshire Strategic Marketing. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about what every business owner should know before they hire a marketing agency in New Hampshire to help them with their online marketing. All right. Um, I don't know your experience. We work with business owners of all stages of business, and we've been doing this for a long time. But over the years, I've seen it all. I've seen and usually by the time somebody gets to us, they've been through a couple other agencies and had some bad experience. Sometimes okay experiences, sometimes very, very bad experiences, sometimes even good experiences. Okay. Um, but over the years, in running into people, business owners that have had a lot of the bad experiences, I want to give you some things to watch out for before you hire an agency. Maybe you're thinking about working with us. Great. I'd love to chat with you and see how you can help. But even before you talk to anybody or hire an agency, I want to give you some ammo and some things to be aware of. Okay. So it's almost like a consumer awareness guide to arm you and with some good questions to ask and some things to think about before you pull the trigger and hire an agency. So, without further ado, let me dive right in and tell you about it. This is us. This is our team. Me, Betsy, Mike, Shannon, and the team. We got other contractors that we work with. Um, and we've been doing this a long time. We've been doing this since 2012. Helped clients all over New Hampshire and even nationally. We've actually got clients in 32 different states. Work with a lot of different types of businesses, including home service businesses, doctors, lawyers, dentists, functional medicine doctors, all kinds of different businesses that we've worked with, therapists, dog trainers, uh, paving companies, landscapers, roofers, siding companies, you name it. We work with all kinds of different companies. Um, so I want to talk to you about what to think about before you hire a marketing agency in New Hampshire. A lot of business owners hire marketing companies with high expectations and end up frustrated. A lot of times they're just so focused on the outcome that they want that they didn't stop to think about, like, is this plan, is this agency going to be the best fit to help me get there? Okay. And they ended up getting frustrated. Common problems that we see typically after the fact, by the time somebody gets to us and they've made a wrong hire, they waste the agency they were working with wasted ad budget or marketing budget. Their communication was terrible. They promised the sky and didn't deliver at all. They had a long term contract that they were locked into that they couldn't get out of. And they had no clear results because they didn't really have a clear plan of action, or they had an ineffective plan of action of how they were going to actually achieve what they promised in the beginning. Okay. Marketing is a system. Okay. Um, and it's strategic. Hence why we kind of named our business New Hampshire Strategic Marketing, because we had been involved. My business partner Mike and I had been involved in online marketing since the early 2000s for our own businesses and businesses that we were part of. Got to be behind the scenes of a lot of large multi-million-dollar companies that were bootstrapped from nothing. So we actually did a lot of these things, tested a lot of things, worked in a lot of different businesses from online marketing, information marketing, e-commerce. Actually built and sold an e-commerce company of our own. Did website SEO, did local SEO, ran Google Ads, pay per click on Facebook and other platforms, Bing, Microsoft, even ad buys, email marketing, newsletter marketing, all kinds of different things. We have done a lot, all right? And so we got to see firsthand what worked, what didn't, what goes into an effective system. And a system that's effective for one business might be a not great system for another. And that's something to be aware of. Some agencies are like a one trick pony, and everything looks like a nail to a hammer, as the old saying goes. So you've got to really be aware and probably be, ask more questions. Have you worked with businesses like mine? Has this system that you're proposing that we do or implement make sense for my business? Is that going to give me the results that I want? Okay. Um, you know, I think a real system kind of looks at the business holistically from website to SEO and local SEO. At local SEO is like how you rank in the Google Maps pack. Um, And part of SEO, local SEO nowadays, is AI visibility. Like, how do you show up in the AI searches that are happening? People that aren't addressing that, or agencies that aren't addressing that, I think are, focusing on stuff that might have worked 6 years ago, 7 years ago, which is an eternity when it comes to online marketing. Google pay per click, is it the right tool in the toolbox for your business? For some businesses, phenomenal. For some businesses, terrible idea. I would never recommend it at all. But you got to know the difference, right? Local service ads kind of falls under the Google Ads ecosystem there, which is a different type of pay-per lead system through Google. That could be a great idea for some businesses. Others, you may not get much out of it, right? Reviews and reputation, always been important. That idea of social proof and building that out for your business and you is really important. How do you track this? How do you monitor progress? Tracking analytics, and then having good follow-up systems and a good overall system. Marketing works best when everything works together. So you got to really be thinking about that and holistically, like what is happening with your whole marketing system, both offline and online. Maybe the agency that you're considering working with isn't going to do everything for you, but they're going to do certain pieces. But how does that fit into the bigger overall system? And the agency needs to kind of explain that and kind of tell you that. Maybe you've got multiple agencies working on different aspects of your business, which is great. And we've done that before with other clients, where we're brought in to work on a specific aspect of an overall marketing system. And that's great. Does that agency play well with others? Can you get in the same sandbox and play well with a different agency that's not necessarily competitive but maybe complementary, and you guys are doing different things? How do they work together so that it's seamless and systematic? Okay, stuff to think about before you hire somebody. Your website's really the foundation. Your website should build trust. It should answer questions. It should generate leads. It should be working for you as an online virtual salesman 24/7, 365. It really should be working for you. And a lot of people just build, or even agencies will build a website. I'm working with a new prospective client right now. He had a decent website built like 8 years ago. It looks fine. But it's, when you actually dig into why he came to us because he's not getting this certain type of work. And when we dig into the ranking reports and analyze the website, look at a sitemap, like analyze his SEO, what keywords he's ranking for, how he ranks in the maps pack, it becomes painfully apparent why he's not ranking. His website's got very thin content, doesn't do a good job differentiating from who he is, from him, differentiating him from his competitors. Doesn't say clearly who he is, what he does for services, and geographically where he does it. It leaves a lot of that out. And so Google has no idea, like, to what degree this, where this guy is located. He actually has some discrepancies online of like where his business is actually locating. So Google, because they're confused, they're just not ranking him at all for anything in any of the areas that he wants to be showing, which is a contributing reason why he's not getting these certain types of jobs, because he's invisible on the internet. A lot of it goes back to the foundation being poorly built. All right. The web, just because you build a website that looks okay does not mean that you're going to rank and show up. Okay. When we analyze the website, it's very thin content. It's got some old stuff on it. He's got inconsistent stuff off of his website. So a lot of that needs to be fixed. That foundation needs to be fixed before we can start productively moving on to some more stuff. So you really got to be thinking about the website, how this plays into it, and how that will be the foundation for all your online marketing. Before you hire an agency, there's some questions that you really should ask. Like, how many leads do you realistically want, a month? How many customers do you really need? How many can you actually handle? Okay. And there's a difference, like we worked with a client, we're working with him still, but when we first started with him, he was a $200,000 a year business. Okay. Pretty quickly, he grew to a $2 million business. And if you've been behind the scenes of a business like that, there's some different systems, different people, different personnel, different ways of operating the business that needs to happen between a $200,000 business and a $2 million business. And this year he's looking to scale from 2 to 4.5 million. And so he's got to level up those things there, right? So, and he's got very realistic goals, and he's working on the other pieces, because like good marketing creates operational problems in a business, and you've got to really kind of be working on the operations side and the marketing side at the same time to grow that. So sometimes I'll hear newbie business owners, I'll be like, oh, I want all the leads, I want as many leads as you possibly get me. Like, do you really? Like, can you actually handle that? Do you have systems? Do you have somebody that's answering the phone, following up? Once you get a bunch of customers on board, can you actually handle those, from an operational standpoint? Or is that going to create negative issues with customer satisfaction? They're going to lead to poor online reviews, and you dropping the balls on a bunch of projects, creating negative reputation and making it harder for your future marketing to work because you didn't have the operational capacity to handle those leads. Okay. So what does success look like? And that might be a 1-year plan, a 2-year plan, a 3-year plan, kind of thinking about it over time. I met with a nice young man the other day. He's a one-man show, just started a business a month ago. Okay. We're kind of looking at like what's working, what's missing, and what's next for him. So I'll encourage a lot of businesses to look at it, no matter what stage of business you're at. You could be a $7 million business looking to go to 10 this year. You got to think about what are the pieces of the puzzle I need to have in place from a marketing standpoint, from an operational standpoint, and kind of thinking about the future goal. If we're sitting here a year from now, what does success look like? What has to have happened for you to be happy and proud of the success that you've achieved? All right. That might look different in a year from now versus 2 years from now. Like, and eventually in 3 years, this guy wants to have multiple technicians on his team. So he's not the only one working in the business. He's more working on the business now because he's built, the marketing, the systems, the operations to handle that kind of capacity. Right. And timeline is important, right? Thinking about it, what are we achieving in the next 5 months, 6 months, 12 months, versus 2 years, 3 years, etc. Marketing without goals is just gambling, and we see a lot of newbie business owners that are just gambling. Frankly, they're just doing random acts of marketing, but they don't really have a strategy or a plan of how that's going to pan out. Biggest red flags to watch out for with agency. I see this all the time, and clients are always asking me like, hey, like I got cold called and cold emailed and cold DM'd via Facebook. All these agencies are promising all these things: 50 leads a month, no payment, blah blah blah, unrealistic guarantees, or they lock you into long-term contracts, and agencies that won't explain how they're going to do it and what they're going to do exactly. Those are all red flags. Other red flags that I've seen, and we've helped multiple clients in this realm recently, where they didn't own their website. They didn't own their Google business page. The agency they worked with owned it. Okay, it's fine for an agency to build you a website, to build you a profile, but they need to add you to it. You need to own it and manage it. And you need to have the keys to the castle, not them. All right. So anything that a question you should be asking is like, will I own my website? Will I own my Google business profile? If you don't have one, they're helping you claim it. They should have like manager level access to your profile. That's all they need to do what they need to do. They may help claim it originally, but they need to make you owner and make themselves manager as soon as possible, so that that's done properly. You need to own the assets for your business, and I'll reiterate that probably a couple times throughout this because it's that important. I think a good marketing agency, a good quality marketing agency, will educate you, will provide transparency, show you real trackable data, help you with a long-term strategy of what's working right now, what's missing, what's next, and kind of help elevate that whole game. You should always control your website. You should own your website. They may host it for you. Like when we build a website for somebody, we host it on our servers. We use a Google cloud-based server called Kinsta, for the WordPress sites that we build. We control that. We maintain it. We do all the under the hood maintenance for our clients' websites, but they own their own websites. You should own your own domain name. Okay. You don't want anybody else owning your domain name. You need to own your own domain name. You need to own your own Google business profile. You need to own the analytics. You need to own your Google profile. All that. You don't want anybody else owning your assets. You need to own them. Marketing isn't just traffic and rankings and clicks. The real goal is more customers, more revenue, predictable growth, better online reputation, a better online presence that looks appealing to prospective customers, and you're just magnetically attracting more of the right people. Marketing done right makes sales easier because they've already been pre-sold, preconditioned that you're good at what you do, you've done it for other people, and that you can help them with that project as well. Okay. So if you're considering hiring a marketing agency, stuff to think about here, and I hope this is helpful for you. If you're open to chatting with us, if you're on the hunt for a marketing agency in New Hampshire, I'd like to humbly throw our hat in the ring. We can book a strategy session. We always start a strategy first, right? We don't charge for this. We'll review your current marketing. Look at opportunities that I see, digging into everything. We'll help you build an actual growth plan. Whether you work with us or not, it's good to have this. I've had potential clients walk away from just that strategy session like, I learned more in the last 30, 40 minutes talking with you than I have from the previous 6 years of working with 2 other agencies, right? So if you're open to a chat, humbly invite you to do so. Let's talk. You can just go to meetwithkyle.com. You'll see my calendar right there. You can book a meeting with me directly to my calendar. And on that meeting, we'll chat and kind of dig in and see what you got in the mix and how we can help you out and see if we're a good fit to work together. All right. Hope you got some value out of this. Throw a like on it if you did. Leave a comment. Wish you the best. And thanks for watching. Hope to talk with you soon. Take care.